Okay, now we're all set and ready to chat with the connections of Shanghai Bobby, winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and safe to say a championship has been secured by virtue of that victory. With us left to right, Charlie O'Connor of Coolmore, winning jockey Rosie Napravnik, and on the far right, Jack Wolf of Starlight Stables. And Jack, of course, this is Breeders' Cup Taste of Success #2, is a part of a shadow back at Lone Star in '04. Congratulations to all three of you. Rosie, obviously you're going to probably, no offense to Charlie or Jack, but the media will probably be interested quite a bit in your story. The second woman to win a Breeders' Cup flat race. We should, out of fairness, mention that Blythe Miller also won the Breeders' Cup steeplechase back at Belmont Park. But first of all, Rosie, your feelings on reaching this higher level of status, if you will, as a female rider?
You know, people ask me what my biggest race I want to win or what my goals are, and really this is all part of the goal, is to be on this kind of level, riding horses for such connections as Starlight Racing Partners and Coolmore Stud and Todd Pletcher, and you know, that's just to find the right horse. Shanghai Bobby is he's such a talented horse. He's a really cool horse to be around, and you know, that's all just part of what my dream has been, is to be able to ride this type of athlete and compete in the World Championship. So it's couldn't be a better feeling.
Jack, they say good things happen to good people. You've been so active, so involved in thoroughbred aftercare. Have you allowed any thoughts of the first Saturday in May to creep into your head thus far?
No, they only give us 10 points. You know, this horse will either be there or not be there, and we ought to celebrate what he's doing right now. And you know, obviously he won the Hopeful and the Champagne in this race, which are basically 3 grade 1s, and so I mean, Rosie rebroke this horse when he looked like he was getting past. So all the credit to her and to the horse.
Yeah, Charlie, I want to ask you a question in just a minute, but since Jack brought it up, watching the race on television, it was not an easy trip per se. You were pushed wide in the first turn. The fractions were more than honest, if not hot. You separated yourself at the top of the stretch, and then it looked like you were going to get swallowed up. Tell us what happened.
I did have to use a little bit of our speed in the first turn. You know, Angel Serpa was pretty aggressive with his horse to get sitting right off the leader, and unfortunately that was exactly the spot that I wanted. So I had to use a little bit of our speed in the first turn, but going down the backside, you know, really couldn't have been in a better spot. Was very comfortable and confident. Unfortunately, the horse on the lead was fading a little bit sooner than I'd hoped, and Bobby gets a little lost when he's out there by himself. I mean, he came to literally what felt like a walk, and I just couldn't wait until the horses came up next to me, because he turns back on like no other horse I've ever felt, and he just rebroke as soon as they came up to him, and you know, he knew he was back in the heat of the battle, and he's the most talented horse I've ever ridden, and you know, I still don't think we've seen the best of him, because he's just you know, he's got unlimited talent. And did Mario Gutierrez aboard, he's had enough, ever get by you at any juncture in the stretch? He was nose and nose with me. You know, I was really just looking forward mostly, because I knew they were coming, and I knew once Bobby saw him that, you know, he could kick back into gear, and he rebreaks so sharply. It's really an unbelievable feeling. Charlie, Coolmore has a pretty keen eye for a horse, as has been demonstrated time after time, and you bought into this one. What was your thinking when you became part of this horse, and what are your hopes for the future?
Well, the reason we bought into him was we obviously thought he was a very good horse, and the partners I represent love to race, and we have a stud farm in Kentucky, and we stand the likes of Uncle Mo and Looking at Lucky, and this was a horse that we thought would fit our program. We thought he was a very good horse after he won the Champagne, and we're delighted to be involved with Starlight. Rosie gave the horse a phenomenal ride, and we look forward to standing him at stud, hopefully at the end of his 3-year-old career.
Shanghai Bobby has demonstrated nothing if not tenacity. Does that translate, in your opinion, your expert opinion, in terms of being a stallion?
Absolutely. He showed Rosie was forced to probably go a bit soon on him, and it showed that he has a heart, and a horse like that has a very, very big chance of being a very successful sire, and that's what breeders look for when they're breeding their mares, like a gutsy racehorse. And this horse, as Rosie said, I'd say we haven't seen the best of him. And he did it the hard way today, and we're just delighted to be involved with him in exciting times.
Exciting indeed, and we'll take questions now from upstairs in the press box or down here, and who'd like to start? We have an extra mic. Tom, why don't you begin?
Yeah. This is for Jockey Rosie. Hopefully you will be a contender for the Kentucky Derby next year, and maybe become the first woman jockey to win the big race in America. And
hasn't happened yet, but thank you.
Yeah,
She's got the oaks.
you hit the front turning for home, and it looked like you had a very nice break, and the race was over at that point. And then you took a quick glance to your right. Was that an act of anxiety? You thought your horse was beginning to wander and he was not being focused?
He was beginning to wander, and I wasn't worried about, the horses passing me. I was worried about how long it would take him to get there so that he would get back into gear. And he's got so much heart, and he turns on just automatically and just re-brakes. It's really an unbelievable feeling. It's something that not a lot of horses can do. He's a very athletic horse, and like I said, I'm really excited to see how good he gets, because I don't think anybody knows yet.
Rosie, when a horse re-brakes like that, is that all the horse is doing, or is there something you can do as a rider to coax that re-braking?
Well, obviously, even when he's a little lost out there, I'm trying to encourage him as much as possible, but it's the competitive nature that, when they see the other horses come up next to him, I mean, it's the heart that the horse has. And I mean, Shanghai Bobby is such a racehorse. He just, he wants to win. So that's really, a lot of it, most of it is the horse.
More questions for Team Shanghai Bobby. Yes, sir. We'll give you the mic.
Jack, I wonder if you see any significance in the history of Breeders' Cup Juvenile winners and the Kentucky Derby, and if you had any misgivings about this race for that reason.
That's a great question. Todd convinced me that this is the race where we should be in, and then we hooked up with these guys here, and it's worked out very well. And we have not had much luck shipping to the West in the past, and obviously we do now. So I'm smart now.
Rosie, do you allow yourself to dream of becoming that first female jockey to win the Derby? Does this maybe make that feel a little more real to you, that possibility?
Well, a horse like this makes it more real, but I was shown firsthand that, you're not in the Derby until you're in the gates. Last year I had a horse withdraw right before the day of entry, so like Jack and I both said, there's a lot that happens between now and May, so it's, one race at a time, but I think as far as talent goes, they've got a real contender.
Tom?
Rosie, before 2012 began, you had a big name, but 2012 you burst on the national scene. You won several big races. Now you won a race in the world's biggest racing stage. I want to ask you, as you went to the gate, what kind of pressure were you under?
You know what? I'm really not a person that gets worked up or gets nervous. And riding in the Derby was, probably my first taste of that back in 2010. And I almost felt guilty for how much I wasn't nervous. And it's just, it's a factor of just being focused. But today was really the first test of being on a favorite, and a lot weighing on this, and I was really I just get into a focus mode and have the confidence in the horse, because I really, ever since the first time I sat on this horse was back in April, the first 2-year-old race of the year, and I turned the horse loose in the post parade, and I just was thinking to myself, Todd Pletcher, Starlight Racing, like, this is April, but I was still thinking to myself then, this is the real deal. This horse is this is a really nice horse. And that was before I even broke out of the gate in his first race. So I've just had the ultimate confidence in this horse since I ever sat on him. And, that really helped going into the race today, being one of the favorites, which does carry a lot more pressure than, than when I was riding in the Kentucky Oaks and my horse was 13-1. I mean, I thought she should have been the favorite that day, but apparently I was missing something. But, it just, riding for Todd, I think I started riding for Todd in 2008. And he's just such an excellent horseman. It really allows me to ride with such great confidence. And just the way that he, interacts with me, he has confidence in me, which, really just makes the whole team work very well together.
What was the greatest thing you proved to yourself in this race today?
That's a really good question. I guess what I proved to myself the most is that, I really have worked really hard to get to this stage in my career, and as long as you've got the horse underneath you, you can get the job done.
Rosie, they say that good jockeys can really follow instructions. How much instruction did you get from Todd going out there, and how much of it was, oh my gosh, here I am, and I got to make my own decision?
Well, I actually was in Todd's office yesterday morning, and Todd doesn't really give a lot of instructions, so I try to just pick his brain in a roundabout way to see if he really has anything that he really expects. But he doesn't give much away. When we talked yesterday, we did it. He did actually bring it up, and we discussed some tactics. And when I got into the paddock today, he completely changed everything. So, but luckily, between the time I was in his office talking to him about it yesterday, and by the time I walked into the paddock, I was thinking exactly the same thing that Todd was, and we were right on the same page. And he said to let him run away from there and be pretty forwardly placed, and that's really what I felt was going to be the best trip. So, once again, I really love working with Todd. We're usually right on the same page and have a lot of confidence in each other, and so it's just it worked out very well that our minds were working in the same direction.
Rosie, what gave you that sense that the horse could be special before he had even raced for you?
I'm not really sure what it was. I think what's really impressed me a lot about Shanghai Bobby is the fact that he's so athletic and he's so smart. I wasn't really congratulating him on his smartness at the quarter pole today, but I was at the 16th pole. So he's a really cool horse. He's got a personality. It makes my day every time Todd asks me to come breeze him in the mornings, and not to mention in the afternoon, he's just he's all heart, he's all racehorse. I mean, he's just exactly what every rider is looking for.
Rosie, I wonder if you could elaborate on what Todd changed between yesterday and today, if there's something specific you could tell us.
He told me some of the things that he was hearing about, who was sending and who was going to sit a little bit, and we talked about what was actually printed about Baffert's horses. The horse on the rail was going to send, and the horse on the outside was going to stock. And he told me that he heard that Sadler's horse was going to be aggressive, so we were hoping to get a stalking trip, maybe sitting third outside and a clear go. And then when I got into the paddock, he said, you know what, I think we're going to change it, just send him out, let him run out of there and get a good spot, and just basically we wanted to be in control of the race.
For Mr. Wolf, based on the performance today, do you have any regret at all about selling the percentage of the horse that you did?
Of course not. I mean, these guys are, the way it worked out, I mean, these guys have had horses with Todd for a number of years, and it was a natural deal, and they were interested in the horse mainly as a stallion prospect and having the fun of doing this. So it's great to have them, as partners, and we've already had some fun, and we'll have some more fun, hopefully.
Well, you certainly did have a lot of fun today. Charlie O'Connor, Rosie Napravnik, and Jack Wolf of Starlight Stable. Shanghai Bobby, champion 2-year-old, it seems safe to say. Congratulations on a terrific and gutty win today in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.